conference calls each and every week to kind of give you an update on where we're at, what's happening, and give you a good overview of Code Ninjas. My name is Flanagan. I'm the Vice President of Franchising here at Code Ninjas. And every week we do these calls. We have anywhere from, like on today's call, we have anywhere from 40 to about 50 attendees on a regular basis. And these calls are really designed just to be able to help you get a better understanding of Code Ninjas. The first 10 or 15 minutes is going to give you a brief overview. After that, we go into our Q&A section. And our Q&A section is the most popular part about these calls. These calls are all recorded and hosted on our Code Ninjas YouTube channel. So these Q&As, that'll be really your time to be able to ask whatever questions you have based on the information that you've received from us or from the information that I go over today on today's call. So that's going to be your time. You'll be told how to do that. It's basically pretty simple. It's just hitting *6 when that segment starts. And those segments can go for 30 minutes. They can go for an hour. It's really depending upon you and the questions that you have. So, again, if you're just joining us, my name is Marty Flanagan, the Vice President over here of franchising over here at Code Ninjas. Code Ninjas, by the numbers, to kind of give you a little bit of an update, now we're sitting at about 325 sold territories in the U.S. Out of those 325 sold territories, that's 145 franchisees. And we have currently 65 centers open for business today. We're on pace to have 100 locations open by the end of the year or just after the end of the year. And what all that means is in the franchising world, only about 2% of franchises out there in the first 24 months have 100 centers open. So it's very validating for us as Code Ninjas to see that we're about to hit that 2% of all franchise brands in the world have 100 centers open in their first 24 months of business. It's very exciting for us and very validating for us and our franchisees on what we're doing here at Code Ninjas. To give you a little bit of a backdrop on Code Ninjas, David Graham, the founder of Code Ninjas, our CEO, he owned a school that taught adults how to code for many years, and that operated in 18 different cities. And as being a coder and a programmer for over 25 years, being an entrepreneur, his eyes were always open to other opportunities. And week after week after week, he kept getting asked a question about the younger generation. How do we get the younger generation involved? What do we do? I want my kid to learn this. He kept getting asked those questions. So he continued to look at the marketplace. He continued to look at the curriculum that was offered out there today. And as he continued to do that, it just became more and more evident on what we needed to do and what he needed to do. So in the beginning of Code Ninjas, it was David Graham, Bert Sensipon, and myself, and we built Code Ninjas from the ground up, us three. And what we've done here is we've put together not just a curriculum, but an experience for our kids when they come in. We wanted a comfortable place. As David was thinking this through, he was sitting in a very uncomfortable bench in his son's karate class, and it was just not very friendly for parents to be sitting there and waiting, very uncomfortable. And that's when it all hit him. He's like, no, we're going to do this. It's going to be a comfortable environment. It's going to be a comfortable lobby. It's going to have a certain feel to it, a certain look to it that's more than just a curriculum, more than just an experience. And we'll talk about the curriculum in a little bit, but to understand who Code Ninjas is and what we're doing is understand how we started. And giving you a little bit of backdrop on David Graham also then leads us to why did we do this as a franchise? We built Code Ninjas day one as a franchise. And some of the biggest questions that I get, which I think are very valid questions, and I love them, is how are you handling the growth? How are you handling this kind of growth that scares me, that worries me about the growth of Code Ninjas? And I hear that loud and clear, and I really appreciate that concern. One thing you have to understand is that we built Code Ninjas from day one to be a franchise. So what does that mean? Well, automatically it means about setting your goals and understanding what kind of franchise you are. How many franchise territories do you feel that Code Ninjas can have across the U.S.? That was our first step in understanding why be a franchise. And the reason is support. When you think of franchise support, very familiar with that. The last brand I was with, I helped grow from 50 locations to 3,600 locations. taught all the new franchisee training, just helped design all of the support infrastructure for our franchisees. So very familiar with how we need to grow a support structure for our franchisees to learn and grow and for us as a brand to develop. So we immediately dove into our franchise support before we were even launched as a brand. We started building on our support structure. So what that looks like is we have something called Code Ninja University. Code Ninja University is there for you to be able to dive into documents and best of practices and compliance and understanding the branding and marketing and understanding what landlord terms are, like what is TI, what are triple nets, and understanding what all those terms mean. How about coding? I don't have any coding experience. We have terminology in there for you to understand what the terms inside of coding. What is Python? What is a language? Is it language? Is it technology? What are you using? We educate you inside of Code Ninja University. Not just for you, but what about your team? Your center director may not have that kind of terminology down yet, may need some insight there. And not only can you help them, but Code Ninja University is there to be able to guide them, to help them get educated. And it's broken up into 7 different segments. It's filled with documents and information, and it's constantly being updated for you. Also with that support structure is you have one-on-one. You have an individual dedicated for your compliance, an individual dedicated for your operations. We have marketing. We provide you with all your digital marketing strategies and marketing pathways for your Code Ninjas, which are consistently being refined and sharpened based on our centers that are opening. Now with 65 centers open and enrolling students, our marketing path is always being refined, always being improved, so that when you are ready to go, it's been gone over more than 100 times because we have over 100 centers open. And it's constantly being sharpened that way. So you have that one-on-one performance coaching, technology support, curriculum support, all that infrastructure. And along with that, what a lot of franchises forget to do and don't do in the beginning as they're coming through and ready to start selling and start securing franchises and opening is building out the collaboration tools. And here at Code Ninjas, we fully understand that our franchisees are our brand development. And being in a unique position by having 65 centers already open, 145 franchisees out there, that's our brand development. We need that feedback. And we want you to encourage one another, help one another, guide one another, not just at conferences, but immediately if possible. So we have internal collaboration tools. So when you become a franchisee, you're connected with all the other franchisees across the country and across the world, because now we're in Canada, not open yet, but we're about to secure our first territory in Canada. So we look to have our first location open in Canada, I would say probably in the next 4 to 5 months. And when that happens, Canada will grow very, very fast when the word starts getting out like it did here in the U.S. So you're immediately connected to franchisees all over the country. So understanding that our support structure was built from day one to support our franchisees before our first location was even open. So get just a better understanding of why we're a franchise and how our support structure works, how our marketing is provided for you. We give you that 16-week roadmap before you even open up your center. To give you a little bit of an idea how those roadmaps work, our average center opens its doors for business. So they click that open sign on, and they're ready to that day to open up and be ready for Code Ninja students. Our centers have an average of 59 students already enrolled. That's wonderful. Obviously, it shows our marketing plans are working, and they're helping our franchisees open their door for business with students already enrolled. So it's very nice. So when it comes to how we do these calls, again, this is to give you a brief overview. The curriculum that we have for Code Ninjas, again, this is to give you a brief overview, and as we can dig in with any questions you might have. So when it comes to our curriculum, why is Code Ninjas, why did it take off the way it did? Why are so many people looking at other options and choosing Code Ninjas? And the numbers show that. Well, our curriculum, to give you an idea, we have 5 different opportunities for families to get involved in Code Ninjas. 5 different opportunities. We have Parents Night Out. We have birthday parties. We do something called our drop-in program, which I'll talk about in a minute. We have our after-school program, and then we also do camps. And in 2019, we're going to be releasing our Code Masters program, which is for anybody over the age of 14, not for just teenagers, anybody over the age of 14, whether you're an adult or whether you're 14 years old and you've completed the original Code Ninjas program, you can move into that Code Masters program. So currently those 5 opportunities for families to get involved in Code Ninjas, the most popular, and I would say the one that really makes Code Ninjas stand out above and beyond anybody else is called our drop-in program. The drop-in program itself is a flexible learning system. What that means is that your parents can drop their son or their daughter off at their convenience. Their son or their daughter is going to stay for an hour to 2 hours, and they're going to come in 1 to 2 times a week. That program, that drop-in program, is made up of 9 different belts. Inside each one of those belts is a learned set of skills and concepts. When they get to the end of the belt, they're required to build a game that requires those skills and concepts to show their proficiency. And then that's how they progress to the next belt. And every belt is compounding onto one another. Every belt is connected. The biggest difference between Code Ninjas and every other curriculum on the market is all of our curriculum has connectivity. Everything is connected. So when you're in the first belt, those skills and those concepts that our students are learning, they're going to show proficiency by building a game by using those skills and those concepts. And that's how they're showing the proficiency, and that's how they progress to the next belt. And then all of the other belts are connected to one another all the way through. It's the connectivity that makes a difference. The connectivity between our curriculum is what makes our curriculum currently 45% exclusive and proprietary just to Code Ninjas. We built it. We made it. It's our game development platform. It cannot be copied across the street. Somebody cannot do what you're doing inside your center across the street. That comes with proprietary textbooks. Our textbooks, we worked as a professional educators on the pacing of our program as well. So when you look at that system as a whole, we'll be moving to about 50% proprietary and exclusive here shortly. So we're going to cross that 50% threshold of proprietary and exclusive curriculum in early 2019. So those 9 belts, that takes about 2 to 4 years for our students to accomplish. As a parent, you'd pay a flat monthly tuition rate. That price is determined by you as a franchisee in your market. So based on your cost of living, based on your area, we're working with people in Fargo, North Dakota. That market's much different than being in Bedford, Massachusetts. So we understand that. So there's flexibility there with your pricing. That's called the drop-in program. And that is our most popular program that we're offering in our set of our Code Ninjas with parents. The drop-in program in camps are designed to expand the bandwidth of our current students, to introduce families into this world a little bit and giving them a try for a week. Camps are done whenever there's not school. So the camp program, we have a space for that. We have a place for kids to come and do camps whenever there's not going to be school. So the drop-in program, camps, parents' night out, those are some of our most popular. Our after-school program, that is going to be, some franchisees choose to do that, some don't. It's all based on the franchisee and how big their space is and what kind of experience they have. So as an offering, when a family comes in, it's not just one way of doing it. They have multiple opportunities. Our franchisees have different programs on the inside in terms of their pricing structure, having computers a part of the program, letting parents bring in their own computer, letting students bring in their own computers. So we provide a lot of leeway there for you to be creative inside your Code Ninjas. When it comes to the overall curriculum, how that is constantly sharpened, how that is consistently moving forward and progressing is based on our franchisee feedback, our student feedback, our parent feedback. We have something called a parent portal. The parent portal is where parents can go in and they actually can see what their son or what their daughter is doing, and how it's graded by the Code Sensei, so they actually can be engaged with that. They can play the games that their son or their daughter is building. Because here at Code Ninjas, if you haven't heard us say it before, our whole slogan, if you want to say it that way, is kids have fun, parents see results. We want parents engaged. We want parents to see what their son or their daughter is doing inside of Code Ninjas and how they're progressing. That's why you see skills and concepts intertwined through all of our belts. Parents can actually see the skills and the concept that their son or their daughter is learning as they're in the Code Ninjas program. We are a self-paced but not self-taught program. When a student walks in, they're scanning their wristband. That unlocks the security part of them allowing them to access the curriculum. They're going to go sit down. They're going to crack open their laptop. They're going to log into the dashboard that we built just for Code Ninjas. They're going to be able to see what they've done in the past, where they're going that day. They're going to grab a textbook, and they're going to see what their assignment is that day, if it's doing robotics, if it's working on inside the curriculum. The curriculum itself lives on our platform in the cloud. We have 3 full-time game curriculum developers that their only focus is to consistently and constantly sharpen the Code Ninjas curriculum. That's what their job is, full-time. They've been here now for, about almost 8-9 months. This is what they do. Before that, it was David Graham and Nick, our CTO, who are working on it. And now we have dedicated individuals around the clock that just focus on the Code Ninjas curriculum and progressing it forward. So that gives you a good overview of our curriculum, our support as a franchise, more of just who we are as a company. I hope you see that. If you have questions on anything that you've been sent, if it's territory size, territory availability, for example, like the greater Houston market is completely closed, right? We have no more room in Houston for any more franchisees. North Dallas is very, very difficult, pretty much closed. Austin is closed. Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. New Jersey is very, very tight right now. Almost all of Miami, all of San Diego County. We have a lot of markets that are just don't have room for more Code Ninjas. One of the biggest pieces of this, that when I was building out our territory structure and how we were going to move forward with Code Ninjas, is I'm very not stacking Code Ninjas on top of one another. I want to give you space to be successful with your Code Ninjas and give you as much room as I can to allow you to capture your market. So if you have questions, this is going to be your time to be able to ask those questions, and we'll go as long. I've done these Q&A sessions for 20 minutes, and I've done these Q&A sessions for an hour and 20 minutes. It's really up to you. I just want to be able to help answer any questions you might have. If I did such a fantastic job and nobody has any questions, then we'll end the call today pretty early. But otherwise, hitting *6 is going to allow you to have virtually raise your hand, and you'll be able to ask any questions that you may have. Hi, you have a question?
Hi. Yeah, I'm Mark Erickson. I'm in Minnesota. Question about hours.
Yes.
Are hours set by the location owner? And also, is there a big seasonal change between summer and school year?
So I'm not sure if you know this, but I'm actually in Elk River, Minnesota. So I'm very familiar with how we are up here in the Midwest. Hours-wise, that's really up to you as a franchisee. I think, you're in Minnesota, I'm in Minnesota. We know that here in Minnesota at 8 o'clock at night in winter, families are out. They are doing things. I pick my daughters up at theater at, 9 o'clock at night. Down south, it's the exact opposite, where they're shutting down at 7 o'clock. They're not out and about doing – in Houston, our hours, we're done at 7 in Houston. I think, Mark, you would agree with me, being done here in Minnesota at 7 o'clock is a little bit crazy. Our families are out and about here in the Midwest. You have to look at your market and determine what the best hours are for your Code Ninjas.
And the other
seasonal-wise,
summer versus –
summer, the nice thing is summer, you can double your revenue because you're doing camps. So you're going to make up for any, because obviously being in the Midwest, we like to be outside in the summer and be active. Well, that's where the camps come in. So when you do have a little bit of a down cycle, camps are there to pick up your revenue and push it through, because families still have to work. So having camps available, it's very, very popular, our camp program. And that you want to capture this camp program. If you're looking forward to moving forward with Code Ninjas, you want to be open by May. you can capture all that summer camp revenue and then roll those students into your drop-in program towards the end of summer. Is that helpful, Mark?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
I do have a question. Why did you decide to build a proprietary software? Isn't that kind of expensive? Is it similar to like, something like Scratch or maybe Blockly, which is kind of freer API?
Well, I mean, so if we were just to take all the curriculum and use it from off the shelf, wouldn't it be really, really easy to just have somebody copy what we're doing and go across the street? Yes, of course. But also the curriculum on the market today has no connectivity. So you're using one type of curriculum that maybe be off the shelf, but it's not connected to anything else. So a student and a family, for example, on the marketplace today, the longest curriculum on the market today that you can get is 21 weeks. That's the longest. Code Ninjas is 2 to 4 years. It's ongoing. And with the Code Masters program, it'll be ongoing for as long as they want to do it. There's no connectivity with the curriculum on the market today. Code Ninjas, we had no choice but to build proprietary curriculum to make the curriculum connected. All of it's intertwined. If you just took a bunch of off-the-shelf curriculum today, it doesn't have that.
Right. And I imagine since you have developers working on it full time, is it pretty you guys update it relatively regularly? There's not a lot of bugs, things like that.
Well, if you're in technology, you know that bugs exist. But we like to break things, if that helps you. We love to break things, and we want our franchisees to break things because that's how it gets better. But it's constantly being sharpened based on everything. We have 145 franchisees who are, the majority of those are IT professionals, programmers, developers. That's their world. They're already there. So having 145 franchisees always looking at the marketplace, always searching for curriculum advancements, are always able to keep us up to date, bring us into a place where, hey, did you see this? Did you look at that? Do you have this? It allows us to always be advancing our curriculum. Just as a quick thing, we have three full-time game curriculum developers, but we have another 6 programmers on staff and developers as well. So a total of 9 full-time individuals that are focused on programming development, but 3 are dedicated just because that's their career, is game curriculum development. That's their world. The other 6 focus on our back-end technology.
Got it. Okay, that's good to know. And obviously, there's mitigations in play if something goes wrong. We contact some of these developers and they can work it out, right?
This is our world, man. This is what we do. So, I mean, if something happens, something goes wrong, we built those internal collaboration tools as well, so you can immediately contact people. You're not just going to be left out in the cold.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Yes, I do. And thank you so much for this very informative. I was wondering if you have a nonprofit for inner city school or any inner city youth, because when I was looking at some of the locations, I'm located here in Arizona, but I was looking more in Los Angeles. There aren't any Code Ninjas. As you stated, the saturation in Arizona is getting pretty heavy. Now, would there be any type of student grant available for some of the children, or is there a 501c3 corporation that would assist with some of the inner city children?
Great question, and yes, CodeNinjaCares.org is currently in the hands of the federal government, the U.S. government, to have everything approved and done. We're just waiting on their timing, and that is designed for grants. That's designed for the underprivileged families that are allowed to get their son or their daughter involved in Code Ninjas. So CodeNinjaCares.org is currently in process. The government has it, and we're just waiting on them to get it all approved and get it rolling.
Awesome. And another question is, how does the financing work? Because I relocated to attend Coder Camp, which turned into WazU, so I'm kind of in the...
Whoa. Do you know that's what David Graham owned?
Yes,
he created he created Coder Camp. So just so everybody's listening right now,
hi.
That trailer, right? So David Graham created Coder Camps. It operated in 18 different cities for 4.5 years. Coder Camps got purchased by Wazoo, which is Wozniak, which is Apple guy. So just so you're aware, David doesn't like to brag about himself, doesn't like to talk about that kind of side, and he asked me not to. But since you brought it up, it allows me to kind of just give you a little bit of history on David Graham and where he comes from, and the system that he built is currently owned by Wazoo.
I know, and it was better when we entered when he was still running it. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, nice. Wonderful. The financing side of it works as we work with financial brokers. Those financial brokers are going to take into consideration all of your opportunities and give you the best and give you advice on the best way to fund your Code Ninjas. Give you a little bit of an idea, 75% of our franchisees do an SBA loan. The other 25% do a combination of SBA, personal finances, liquid, HELOCs, which is home equity line of credit, and what they call a ROBS, which is like a retirement rollover.
Okay. Now, what I ended up doing right now, I'm teaching kids chess instead of doing the coding, which I prefer to do, of course. I mean, it kind of ended up that way after Wazoo took over. So as far as financing, that's kind of tied up. I mean, I think we need to have probably a one-on-one conversation based on the loans.
I'd say reach out to, I think you connected with Jeff Baines already. I would say that reach out to him via email. I think he sent you an email not too long ago. Email him, and he will send you all the information for our financial brokers to help you out.
Okay, awesome. And the last question is, because, again, I was looking through the L.A. area, and I don't really see too many in the Los Angeles area. Is that being planned, other than Santa Clarita's recently opened up? But that's in the
definitely. Work with Jeff on it, identifying the best possible locations for where you're going to be.
Okay, I will definitely do that. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi. I'd like to understand how much is an average revenue for your franchisees.
Yeah, so I can make this really easy for anybody on the line that is going to ask about revenue. The only revenue that I can actually go over, talk about, discuss is what's in our franchise disclosure document inside the item 19. So anything outside of that, franchising law does not allow me to discuss net cash, how much money can I make, how much the averages are. I only can talk about what's inside the franchise disclosure document inside the item 19. I can't talk about anything outside of that. We do that individually as well. So we work with you individually and have built tools to allow you to build out your ROI and to allow you to reverse engineer some of those numbers in the item 19 to build out your model.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Yes. So, question about some of the support, specifically around kind of marketing and real estate site selection, actually. But on the marketing piece, curious how much is done at the franchisor versus done locally, and on the real estate piece, just thinking through, obviously, site selection. Is that are you guys typically approving sites or suggesting sites? How ingrained is that process?
So when it comes to, we'll start with the first one. When it comes to the marketing side of it, we don't take revenue from you and market for you, right? We give you all your pathways for digital marketing strategies. We give you marketing support going all the way through from start to finish, what to do, when to do it. We don't do pass-through fees in terms of marketing, so you're not going to be paying us for us to go spend money for you. In our experience in franchising and in marketing with inside of franchising, and it's much more productive for our franchisees to follow the pathways we have set forth to market in their community versus us taking the money and then just kind of distributing it as we see fit. We've decided that we took away that marketing spend and asked you just to focus on spending 3% of your revenue in your local market. We don't ask you to give that to us. We don't take that from you. We just ask you to spend that inside of your market. And we give you, like I said, all of the strategies. all of the pathways to do so. We just ask you to execute on those, and we give you plenty of options to choose from. If you choose to you want us to do it for you, we can do that, but it's still not a pass-through fee even if we do that. So it's very franchisee friendly in that way. Site selection, of course, we have standards. Of course, we have to approve your location. We're giving you one of our babies. The market has to be viable. It has to be available. It has to meet our requirements. Otherwise, just because somebody has the money to open a Code Ninjas doesn't mean you're going to be able to if we don't see the market being viable and meeting our requirements. We have our design, construction manuals. All that is in place, so you're going to know exactly what kind of space to look for, where it can go, and when you start looking at spaces, you're going to have a really good idea of what that needs to be and where it needs to be. We have our territory mapping software, so we identify markets with you. It's a very customized process. We didn't go off and pay somebody a bunch of money to blanket the entire U.S. with territories. We do that individually, and it's very successful because you know your market better than we do, and we want to dig in with you and find those areas that are growing and up and coming and make the most sense.
Great. And just curious, what third-party site selection tool do you guys use?
You mean our mapping software that we use?
Exactly.
Well, we use actually a couple different ones. The easiest one that we use that's been the most effective is Map My Business Online.
Gotcha.
Map Business Online has been the most effective for us, and it's most up-to-date data for the U.S.
Gotcha.
Very granular. So, Sean, I know you're in Atlanta, so just to give everybody an idea of what this looks like, and let's say Sean is in Atlanta and he's asking about an area. We wanted a mapping software that was very granular, not just done by zip codes, because a zip code would take in the zip code and you put a circle in that zip code, it's going to take a percentage and say, the percentage of people that may be in that circle is X. We didn't want that. We wanted something much more granular. And so we found a company that allowed us to do that, so we actually can take in the consideration, even if it moves a block, it has the student count and the median household income.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, do you have a question?
Yeah, hi, Marty. Just a question for you. I know we were just talking about locations, but how do we work through that process? Because I'm looking at Illinois, and I was looking online, and there's tons of locations around me that seems to be, I think, in the works right now. I'm not sure if they're already, when they're going to launch. So I guess how do we work through that process? Do we work directly with you to sit down? Is that all of that take place, after we sign everything, or can we talk about territories before we actually start exchanging money and things like that?
Oh yeah, we definitely talk about territories before you're a franchisee, because to come to our discovery day, you have to have a market that's available and viable that meets all of our requirements. So definitely, you're buying a secured market when you become a franchisee. Illinois, I can tell you right now, in the suburbs of Chicago, it'll be next to impossible to find a location.
Okay.
We have 27 locations coming to Chicagoland in the next 24 months, not including what's already open.
Got it. And then what's the around average time for a location to pop up from start to finish?
When a franchisee signs a lease, when one of our franchisees signs a lease, they'll be open within 3 months.
Oh, okay. Great, thank you.
Wonderful. All right, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi, yes, I do. I wanted to ask about the level of support that's provided, I guess, and then ongoing. So is it very, high level, kind of running, let's do your thing. If you have issues, let us know.
So support changes per individual. Support is an ongoing developing monster, right? And I, like I said, for 12 years, I helped develop, a support structure that went from 50 locations to 3,600. So support, from what I know in my experience of onboarding more than 2,000, supporting 3,000, 3,600 locations, in my experience, support is constantly transforming. It has to be. So it goes for, it's ongoing support. It definitely doesn't just say, hey, we're going to get you open and then calls if you have an issue. That's not support. The support team is the backbone of any great franchise, period. They have a weak support system. They have a weak franchise. Our support structure is our backbone. We fully understand that. And there's a shift that happens with support that a lot of people don't realize and catch on to. The first side of it is going to be the technology. Technology needs to be heavy in the beginning to get franchisees connected, to get them to be able to get in front of their computer, do their research, do their thing at their convenience, because hours are different. They can't always get a hold of somebody. So that's why we have Code Ninja University. That's why we use Office 365. We have all of our internal tools designed around that. So you can watch video streams. You can see the agenda training. You can actually look at everything that in all the documents that we have. You're able to be online and get that heavy tech support. And then it starts to shift to performance training, performance coaching. Performance coaching is when you start to get your center open. You're starting to work with face-to-face with parents, your customers. That you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. And as performance coaching goes, we need to be there to support you as an individual the way you need to be supported. And all of us are a little bit different. So performance training is going to vary depending on you as a franchisee, but that performance training, that performance coaching, that's ongoing. It never stops. I mean, we have weekly owner conference calls. We have training agendas, training videos. As soon as we are able to, with our franchisees, we're going to be starting ongoing training called Level Up. And ongoing training is being in different parts of the country, helping you as a franchisee and your team inside your Code Ninja. So you would come to not an actual Code Ninja location, but we'll have a location where we actually have a day-long training course. At our last conference, we actually had professional educator come in, and she speaks all over the country. And she came in purely based on education, motivating kids, working with kids, what is it like, and how to help our franchisees understand who they're working with in a student's mindset.
Right. That's really good as a starting point to know what to expect, I guess, going in, right? And my second question is, what is the viability for a franchise location in the Toronto, Canada area?
Toronto. So you're in, Toronto. So you're up in Toronto.
Yeah, I'm up in the suburbs of Toronto. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, so Toronto. I mean, that is going to be where our first New Richmond Hills will probably be our first location sold up there. Okay. But Toronto is a fantastic market. I mean, I've done research and constantly are doing research, and I just got off of a call with the largest commercial real estate owners up there, property managers up there. So we're really excited to move into. We think Toronto is going to be our largest market.
Oh wow!
And our first market.
Well,
and our first market.
So yeah, I should get on that then, right?
You should. Oh my word! I'm in northern Minnesota, so I'm actually further north than you are.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Okay, well, then we'll be in touch more one-on-one after this. And my
Wonderful.
last question to you is,
I may have lost you.
What are the ongoing fees?
Okay, I think I heard you say what are the ongoing royalties. So the ongoing royalties are 8%.
Okay.
Just to make it clear, we can break down what all those are about, but its ongoing royalty is 8%, and it's Canadian to Canadian. It's not Canadian to U.S. So just so you're aware of that.
Okay, good to know. Okay, and that's all for me. Thank you so much, Marty, for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Yes, I do. Just wanted to check a couple of questions here. What is the thought process for expanding, let's say, beyond North America? And is there any thought process in works for where the real estate is like extremely high expense item?
So when it comes to outside of Canada, David Graham is currently actually meeting with multiple master franchisee prospects in Europe right now. And we've had a few interested parties for Mexico. We've had Central America, South America. We've had a few interested parties for Australia, New Zealand. We've had a few interested parties obviously from India. So kind of all over. So when it comes to the international, that's something you would email me offline to connect more about, and we can talk more about that at a different time. This is more for U.S. and Canada.
All right, that helps. So I'll probably connect you offline and then try to get in touch personally so that we can have those discussions.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you. Hi. You have a question?
Oh, hi there. I have a similar question to an earlier person. What are the possibility and scopes in Western Canada, more in Metro Vancouver area?
You mean what is? I mean, I'm sorry. So what is your question?
Essentially, when do we look to open one up in the Western Canada region? Essentially,
whenever you're ready.
So is it all ready to start in Canada, or is it still in process?
Yep. No, we have our Canadian. We have our Canadian franchise disclosure document. And like I said, our first Canadian franchisee will probably be aboard in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, great. Is there one close to Seattle area or Washington State where we could actually go look a location?
We have one coming to Seattle. Yep. She takes possession of her space on Monday, so I'm guessing she'll be built out in the next 3 months. Just for everybody listening online right now, in the future, and I try to go over this every call, if you walk into a Code Ninjas without being introduced by the corporate office, more than likely you're going to be asked to leave. So just so you're aware of that. Just like if you were a franchisee, I wouldn't want somebody coming in off the street that wasn't introduced to you by the corporate office asking a bunch of questions about your business. We are a child-focused center, so if you want to visit a center, you're better off coming to a discovery day, and then we will connect you with franchisees through the process for sure. We'd love to do that. But just walking into one of our centers and asking questions, our franchisees, our center directors are probably going to put the brakes on that. They've been coached to put the brakes on that and ask you to leave, because we are a child-focused center. And really when it comes to that part of it, we want that to be a part of the process, but you have to be introduced by the corporate office to go down that road. And honestly, every time we've ever been asked that, Discovery Days, we host them every single month. On the second Thursday of every month. It's by invitation only, by the way, for Discovery Days. We want to make sure everybody's in the same place. But those Discovery Days, you're going to learn a heck of a lot more through Discovery Day by going to our center, seeing our center director, diving in with what we do on Discovery Day than you ever would learn by going into a center randomly. So just as a heads up with that.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds like I should approach you on one-on-one, try and get more details.
Yeah, I would love to be able to help you. And again, I would love to connect you with. We have a few U.S. Franchisees who are from Canada. So it's, we can easily connect you with people that are from Canada here in the U.S. And just franchisees that may even have the same type of thought process and as you do and decision-making process. I'd love to connect you with anybody that can help you make it the best decision for you and your family.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Yes. In talking to you guys, one of the I was told that there is a owner that has quite a few franchises, like a majority of the franchises.
No, he doesn't have the majority. He just has 30. The other 300 are owned by other franchisees.
Okay. How do you guys protect against that the person that has 10% kind of possibly bringing down the whole franchise?
Well, if our franchise is so weak that one franchisee could bring us all down, that's scary. It comes down to the individual, and we were approached by many, many people to purchase entire states. We were approached by many people to purchase all of Canada, all of Texas, all of New England, all of California. And we said no, 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 and no. It's all about the people. It's all about the relationship. It's all about the partnership. So we did a lot of due diligence with this individual to be sure. His name is Scott. We did a lot of him and his wife. We did a lot of due diligence with them, a lot of interviewing with them, a lot of research to be sure that they were the right partner for us to undertake something like he is undertaking. He knows that, yes, he has a lot of franchise locations, but he is held to the exact same standard, the exact same legal as every single one of our franchisees. There's no difference between him and a franchisee who has one location. We made that very clear from the beginning. He knows that he is held to the same legal standards as every single one of our franchisees. And to mind you, one thing with that too is how that is done is that all of our franchisees sign the same document. We don't redline our franchise disclosure document. We don't redline our franchise agreement, and we don't redline our area development agreement. It's a non-negotiable. So it's not like things were made different for him than any other franchisee. So by having that in place in the beginning and holding that line from day one has allowed our system to be very, very clean and very, very compliant. And so there's no gray area there. Oh, he owns more, so we should do this for him. That's not how it works.
Okay, thank you. And you said it's a collaborative process. Where is what about new technologies that come out? How do we incorporate those? And is there opportunities for individual franchisees to start something and kind of bubble it up to everybody else?
Oh, of course. I mean, beta testing, coming up with new programs, that's all about that. The core drop-in program, that's not about adding new technology to it. That core is all about problem identification, problem solving, critical thinking, leadership, collaboration, time management, the underlying skill set of what makes a great coder. Great coders and great programmers can pick up a new language over a week, but they can't pick up those core skills, those core competencies. They can't do that in a week. So what we focus on with that, our curriculum, are those core skills. When it comes to new technologies, which always come out, right? Any coder, any programmer knows that new technologies and new language, they come out all the time. Camps are designed for that. Those camps that run a week-long, full-day, half-day camps, those are designed to introduce the new technologies, whether it's coding a drone, coding an RC, Python, if it's a new language, whatever it might be. Those camps are designed to introduce that. Now, when it comes to those core skills inside of our drop-in program that takes 2 to 4 years to accomplish, that is really about, those are fully transferable skills. So when they go out there, they can choose their tools when they get older. If it's multiple languages, they can choose their language for them. Camps are designed to bring new technologies, new stuff, 3D printing, whatever it might be. That's where we want to be able to introduce these new ideas. And if something comes up and we can integrate virtual reality into something that we're doing, I mean, oh my word, I mean, that's like the Holy Grail. We want to do that. This is not about being complacent and compliant. If that ever starts to happen and we become complacent and compliant with, what we have is good enough, we're dead as a brand. So we know that from the beginning. We always tell everybody our curriculum is complete but never finished. And that's why we have 3 full-time game curriculum developers that focus just on our curriculum development, and that's all they do.
Okay. Thank you.
And having 145 franchisees, they hold you accountable. That's for sure.
Yep. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hey, it's Kier. I have got 3 questions. So the first question would be about the curriculum, right? I know that we said that there's like 9 different builds, but do the other franchisee do like a build number 1 at one time and then build number 2 at another time?
No, it's a flexible learning system, so they're able to come in at their parents' convenience and work through the curriculum at an individual basis. So they're working through it themselves. So, I mean, it's very individualized. So if they have a question or an issue that they're coming across, they're going to call on a code sensei. A code sensei is going to come work with them one-on-one. So it's very individualized. So they're going to work through the curriculum at their own pace. There's no sessions or lectures, or they don't have to sign up for times or anything like that.
So I heard that there are, on an average, a franchisee has about 59 students. So is there like a time?
That's the day they open their doors for business. And so in the franchise disclosure document, that FDD, that states that our average center opens their doors for business with 59 students already enrolled.
Wow. Okay.
Just so we're clear on that. And inside the FDD states that our average center at that time was $188 to $220 per student.
Okay.
Some charge up to, I was just on our boards yesterday, some charge up to $350, and some charge as low as $175. And so that gives you an idea there of that cost.
Yep. And then second question would be about the territory protection. I believe if it's a zip code, then if you are in that zip code,
it's not zip code. We do it's not zip code. We do a 2 to 3 mile radius based on the demographics.
So if within that radius, say, example, in Texas, if there is an area, or Midwest, if I heard right, like say Schaumburg has already a location, do you allow a second location within the Schaumburg area from a different franchisee?
No.
So it's
because it has to be at least 5 to 6 miles away. And I know Schaumburg. There's no way that another location can be right outside of that. You're talking about Illinois?
Yes.
Yeah. Illinois is completely. I mean, there's no hope of finding another location. I mean, I hate to crush your dreams there, but Illinois is going to be almost impossible to find another location.
I'm from Atlanta. I'm not, but I lived in Illinois, so I'm looking at some part of Atlanta.
Yeah, well, it has to be. You got to think if there's a location, it has to be at least 5 or 6 miles away from that location. We don't want our centers to have a major overlap of their territory border to territory border. We want to have them spread out a little bit further.
So, but if the area is more than 15, 20 miles, but it's the same city, you would allow.
Yeah, that's different. 15, 20 miles. That's totally different. We would map things out together. So we would get on the phone together. We would look on the map together, and we would pull the demographics, and we would work on that together to be sure that you fully could see it and understand it.
Okay, and the third question would be about mobile dojo.
Okay.
How does that work?
The mobile dojo?
Uh-huh.
So that's that's an option. Yeah, it's optional. That'd be something you would take out into the marketplace. So you could do birthday parties. You could do different things you could do different camp-based curriculums into the market.
Okay, and then the fourth question would be Discovery Day. Where can I get more information about that?
You're going to want to connect one-on-one with either myself or Jeff Thames, whoever you've been working with. And there's certain requirements that we have need to be met before coming to Discovery Day, and we'd like to be able to help you through those for sure.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. One thing I do want to mention real quick, Sean, if you're still on there from Atlanta, and you asked a question about marketing, and I want to just kind of touch on something really quick that I forgot to bring up, and that is on the marketing side of it. For example, this last month, we gave a challenge to our franchisees, and we said if you invested $1,000 into your digital marketing strategies, we as a corporate office would invest $500. So we as a corporate office know the importance of digital marketing strategies, and to be able to show our franchisees our dedication and our commitment to them, we invested $500 for every center that invested $1,000 more on their budget for digital marketing strategies. So that $500 was right out of our pocket. It didn't come from our franchisees' percentage of revenue or anything like that. So we had all of our centers that I believe now, all of our centers signed on. 65 centers signed on to do that program. So we took $500 out of our own corporate funds, not a percentage of revenue from our franchisees, and put it back into marketing to support our franchisees without being reimbursed by our franchisees as a challenge. And that's very unique as a franchise to say, hey, we're going to just invest money out there for you. If you're going to commit to it, we're going to commit to it with you. And we're going to put in our own corporate dollars, not a percentage of revenue that was taken from you to put into the marketing. So, which was really exciting. And it's actually now we're on like day 2 or day 3. And from what I'm reading out there, it's been absolutely incredible response from the communities and families and parents inquiring about Code Ninjas. Hi, you have a question?
Hello, I do. I actually have 2 questions. First and foremost, what does the staffing typically look like? How do you essentially, you're hiring a sensei, you're looking for certain skill sets, obviously in programming and coding, and that goes along with this curriculum being kind of self-paced but not self-taught, right? So there's some sort of I guess one-on-one teaching capacity.
Yeah. Yep. So you have a full-time center director, and you would have 3 to 5 part-time code senseis. We give you training agendas on what to do, what that looks like, where to find them. Out of 65 centers that we have currently open, we have yet to hear anybody have an issue with hiring code senseis. So the code senseis are typically between 17 and 22 years old, 23 years old. We give you job descriptions, training agendas, skill sets to look for, where to find them as well. So that's all we do that. So you're looking, they're all part-time. And how you're able to, some people are like, how are you able to staff that? What are you able to do? Well, you can also run reports that allow you to be able to see when your busiest times of the day are, to know who you need to have on, how many code senseis you need to have there, and the possibility of having 1 or 2 on call. So if you get slammed with students, they're on call and able to come in and assist. And the great thing is, the kids, this younger generation that we're hiring to come in, this is what they want to do with their future. So they're pretty passionate about being a part of Code Ninjas. They really dive into our culture and working with kids that they kind of see that's who they were or who they are. So overall culture, these kids are delivering it very, very well. We started off with hiring adults. And that caller earlier mentioned our program. I mean, obviously now it's WazU, but we did that as Coder Camp. So we had a pretty good network of coders and programmers, and they're not the best teachers. So this younger generation that's coming up has been proven to be much better working with kids, coaching, and working on an individual basis. So, and they also get a tangible object. They get a tangible certificate that they take with them in the future. So when they go off and they're going to go a job application or a college application, they actually can bring their Code Ninja certificate with them that shows that they not only completed the curriculum or a certain portion of it, but they also taught kids how to code and coach kids how to code for X number of months or years. Nice.
That's really cool. My second question is the marketing mix. Is it specifically kind of digital? I mean, you mentioned it seems like it's a digital marketing mix primarily, but does that mean we get our own website? Obviously there's things like SEO involved, driving traffic to our each individual site. What does that look like? Is it a portal kind of thing?
Well, yeah, the SEO is going to be SEO is maximized by everybody coming through one site. It gives us a much larger internet footprint, and we've had a lot of experience in this world of franchising and the hosting websites and how we do that. And so in just terms of the internet footprint that we have, we host the websites. You have your own satellite site underneath ours that allows you to make some adjustments and everything. You can customize that a little bit, but that's how that's done. When it comes to digital, you can track it. We know exactly what we're paying per lead. We know exactly what's going on. And you can run all the reports. So you're able to see conversion. You're able to see how much you're paying. You can set your budgeting. It doesn't mean you still can't do postcards. It doesn't mean you still can't go and do events. I mean, obviously you want to do that. That's just that digital is the easiest thing and the most effective pathway for us to coach and work with you.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. Do you guys kind of, once you buy a franchise, will you guys localize your SEO for us? Work with like directories and listings and
of course,
that kind of stuff. Okay.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Our marketing director.
And do we pay for that, or do you guys pay for that? Sorry.
Well, so just to give you an idea, our marketing director, he was the digital marketing director for the last brand I worked with for 6 years, right? So my last brand that I worked with for a very long time was Anytime Fitness. So he was the digital marketing director there for 6 or 7 years. So when it comes to understanding a fast-growing brand and how to maximize that, that's in his realm. That's what he does. So when it comes to the SEO, when it comes to all, you can dig in at Discovery Day with him because he has a whole time that he presents there as well. So any kind of questions on his magic in that world of what you guys do, he's right there to answer all your questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, you have a question?
Hi, Marty. It's about retention rate of students. So you said, yes, an average center, or the average is that the doors open up with 59 students enrolled. And what's are the centers usually able to sustain that number, grow it usually after the first month? Does it drop? Or what's the trend usually? And what's the dropout?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things with that, and there's a lot of factors that go into that. We want you to shoot for about a 10% month-over-month attrition rate. So you're retaining the majority, obviously, 90%. So we want you to shoot for that 10%. We see that happening a lot. What skews that number is if you sell a ton of short-term paid in fulls, which is like a 3-month paid in full, you get their money, and that's it. So that affects it, and your execution on the culture side of it. There's a big impact on how your kids are having fun and what you're doing on the inside. And this is where the performance coaching comes in. You can be in the best market. You could have the best coach senseis. They could be the most knowledgeable, and you could have done everything by the book. But if they're not having fun inside your center, if this is not fun for them, they will leave. Ours is a game-based curriculum. We focus on it being fun. That's what we focus on. You have to execute on your side. So it's a little unfair for me to say, oh, our retention rate is so strong. It's this. Typically in this world of the younger generation, the kids, whether it's mathnasium or there's Kumon or whatever, music lessons, whatever it might be, they're a 40% retention rate. We're shooting for a 90%. That's how we design our curriculum. Sometimes you're going to have ups and downs. Sometimes you're going to lose a bunch of kids, and then you're going to gain a bunch, and they're going to come back. We understand this, and that's why we have multiple opportunities for you to re-engage customers that leave. They didn't like it. They didn't like this. They didn't like that. Well, how can we re-engage them? What else can we do to bring them back in? And that's where the Parents' Night Out, that's where the camps come in, like coding a drone, doing different activities around re-engaging customers that maybe didn't like the drop-in program. That doesn't mean they're never going to be your customer again. It just may mean that maybe the drop-in program wasn't for them. Right. And so then we re-engage them with maybe a camp or a Parents' Night Out or a birthday party.
Okay.
And we work with you on that. We don't want you just to – if a student leaves, you need to make sure if it's a surprise to you, you can run retention reports, usage reports. You're able to see exactly what's going on, what part of the curriculum they're doing. You're not going to be in the dark where you're just like, oh, why did they leave? Well, let's look at the reports. Let's find out what happened. You're going to be able to, and you're going to be able to know that ahead of time. You can run those reports every single month and look at what's happening. There's pie charts to allow you to see your male to female percentages is inside your center. And our franchisees love to share that information back and forth on our collaborative tools. They'll be like, oh, I'm 60% girl, 40% boy. Well, I'm 30%. And they go back and forth and they show the report. It's wonderful. So they're actually talking quite a bit and collaborating based on where they're at.
So there are no contracts as such with the kids. like usually Kumon is at least 1 year contract where they.
No, we do those as well.
So there are, okay, but it's not. It's not mandatory.
No, it's not mandatory. Nope.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for taking the time today to attend our Code Ninjas weekly conference call, our executive call. Again, my name is Marty Flanagan, the Vice President of Franchising over here at Code Ninjas. You can reach out to me at any time, marty@codeninjas.com. The 25 people that are still here, feel free to also call me, text me if you would like. If you have questions or need any help with Code Ninjas, my direct line is 763-516-3578. And again, my name is Marty Flanagan, Vice President of Franchising over here at Code Ninjas. I thank you again for taking the time to listen in. If you have questions on Discovery Day, if you have questions on I don't know who I'm supposed to talk to, email me, reach out to me. I'll get you connected. I look forward to working with you all, and I wish you the best weekend and a great rest of your day.